All right, back again. Another episode of the podcast, Artificial Intelligence. Jay here, and I'm pleased to say Ben has turned up this week.
All right, you sound a little bit off there. Is everything all right? You seem a little bit moody.
Yeah, well, no, it's not because of that. It's because last week, right, there was no podcast. The week before our last episode, I said, well, I'll play the clip.
Okay.
We will definitely keep this uploaded on a regular basis. I will make sure of it. We'll be back next Friday.
All right, I would call that proof.
Yeah.
What do you want me to say? Do you want an apology?
No, I just want an explanation.
Look, okay, you don't become a superstar YouTuber by working with you every single week. So
Right.
sometimes you need to have a week off, you know?
Sure.
I'm trying to really project the alpha male image I've got going. I'm branding out. So, what were you doing last week? What did you do? Did you not record on your own or anything? Or?
No, right, here's the thing, listeners. I was literally, this is serious as well.
Here
No,
we
hang
go.
on, shut up, right? Because this is the thing, right? This is going to be sitting there thinking, oh, it's a bit of mock comedy, like they're faking rage. No, I'm genuinely angry, right? Because 2 weeks ago, I said on that podcast what you just heard there, and I was thinking, right, next week we've got it all sorted, another good episode, right? I'm supposed to notify Ben, right, on the Monday or the Tuesday when we're going to record for
That's
hopefully
a good
the
point.
Wednesday.
It's a good point, listeners.
Yeah. And I tweeted you every single day saying, can you do tomorrow? Can you do tomorrow? Can you do tomorrow? And every single day there was always something that came up. Didn't get an explanation. Just it's not going to be a bit too busy today, Jay. Can't do it today.
Yeah.
Can't do it today.
I'm glad you brought this up because it gives me opportunities to say, remember January when he never contacted me about the podcast?
Wow.
Oh,
that was a few weeks back.
Oh, let's get that shoe. Let's pop it on the other foot. And let's kick him in the bollocks. How's that? There you are. You've been kicked.
Yeah, I know. The difference is 2 weeks ago, I made a point that we were going to be more regular.
Yes. Sometimes, Jay, I say, I'm going to do this more and I'm going to do that more. And sometimes I lie. And that was obviously a lie. I thought as a friend you'd be able to notice.
No.
Right, well, look, I don't know why you're putting it all on me as if it's all my fault. You've had builders in all,
it is.
Well, you've had builders in all this week. I wanted to record yesterday and the day before that, and you're all busy.
I couldn't help that. They had to replace a hot water tank.
I couldn't help it. Yeah, well, now I've got issues. It's all my fault. Right, anyway, listeners, welcome back to another episode of Artificial Intelligence. It's me, Dr. Ben GFM, joined by Docklanders. Hi.
Hi, how you doing, mate? You right?
Oh, listen to him. Let's do it all again, shall we? Can he be any lower? Now, for this week, it's fair to say I've taken a risk.
Yeah.
Jay, why? What's the risk?
Well, because also another thing we do before we start the podcast is we set out a running order for what we're going to do. This week we've got nothing, absolutely nothing, not even a single topic to discuss. We're just winging it.
Liar! Well, if you're not prepared for the podcast, again, pop that shoe back on my foot. But no, I've got topics, so I'll drive this one, shall I?
Don't tell me this is the NASA thing.
So the first topic we've got is that astronomers have discovered 7 Earth-sized planets.
I knew this was coming.
Orbiting a nearby star.
Yep.
Ooh. Have you ever been to any of them?
No.
No, me neither. What do you make of that? Are you into the whole space thing? Do you like space?
No, I thought we discussed this off air.
Well, yeah, the listeners might want to see if you're interested in other planets. How many planets can you name?
This is brilliant. What are you doing now? Like Year 7 science?
Well,
what, are you just going to completely humiliate me?
A bit of a quiz. Maybe we could do a quiz about the solar system.
Do we have to?
No, but in all seriousness, right, I think this is amazing. I love that it's still within the world. Scientists are out there discovering new things, finding out about new planets. 7, Jay, not just 1 or 2. 7 new planets, all
7
of
new planets.
They've got like Earth consistency. That's the rumour. The problem is, Jay, they're so far away that it's not even worth it. For example, starting closest to the star and moving out, the planets have retrospective orbits, so they all do what we do on Earth, but at different times. For example, like the quickest one, for example, it happens in a day and a half. They're round that star, or like their sun, like nobody's business. They're rushing, in my opinion. But yeah, so that's not ideal. But the issue we've got here, Jay, overall, is that can we get to them? Does it matter if you find out about life on other planets this far away? Do you care, Jay?
No. because at that point right there, like I saw this on Reddit, and there was like 4 different topics, and I was thinking, right, here we go. Like this, I'm going on Reddit. I want to be entertained. I want some news. I want to get some unfiltered news.
He's
from
sick
Reddit.
of the rabbits jumping in buckets. He wants something.
Well, this is the whole point. I wanted to see
highbrow.
something that was going to intrigue me, something that was going to fascinate me, and everyone's been talking about it on Twitter, and I couldn't care less. It's like, it's just, I don't, like, it's so far away. It's like, what's going to happen? Oh yeah, we found out, that there is potential for life. Well, is there life? We don't know. Right? Okay.
No.
Thanks. Cheers. Brilliant. I mean, I honestly, I couldn't care less. And this is the worst part about it. It makes me like out to be ignorant, and maybe I am. But I just couldn't care less about a planet that's
I nodded then, listeners. You couldn't see that.
Hundreds of light years away. I don't even know what a light year even is. I'm just that unknowledgeable. Unknowledgeable? Is that a word? Unknowledgeable?
Unknowledgeable. I mean, you better hope so. Otherwise, that's ironic, isn't it? No, but the point I'm making is, right, the real issue for us on this planet isn't, there's these new planets, that's interesting. The real thing is, do you think there's life elsewhere in our atmosphere? There must be, right? Logically. If we could form, we're arrogant enough to think we're the only ones. There's no way. I think that there has to be some form of, we call it extraterrestrials. I think there has to be something out there that is living. But that in itself is mental. Like, the idea, you can get caught up in your own thoughts, I think, when you talk about life and the world and how we came to be and what else is out there. That is somewhat mind-blowing. It's crazy to me that we live on this planet and we have a scale of like time and movement, and we even now, after that, however many years they've been researching this sort of thing, and I mean, like, overall 40, 50, 100 years, whatever, isn't that much, right? But it's crazy to me that with the technology we've got, there isn't something closer to us. Do you know what I mean? I find that mad that we can't, like, we've got quite a lot of technology now. For example, this is 40 light years away. That's a long time. It would take millions of years to reach this, like, place. So in my opinion, it's not worth it. It's an expensive Uber. Leave it.
Sure, brilliant.
So I don't know. I find it crazy that there must be. So you agree then? Do you agree that there has to be something else out there?
I do. I mean, I think that it's ignorant to suggest.
You're just hoping they're like career mode. Someone's got to go on.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, mate. I think that there has to be something. I think it's highly ignorant to suggest that we are the only beings in this vast existence that we have. I mean, I think the whole point with these planets that have been discovered that are so far away is just the fact that, like, even if we were to find out that there was life on those planets, what's it going to... Actually, no, wait. Stop that part.
Why?
I'm not going to go down that route because
you
were waiting for me to say something there which is ridiculous.
Listeners, we continue. Go on.
No.
Where's this going?
I'm done with that sentence. I'm finished with that tangent.
No, there was more there. We didn't.
There wasn't. There was nothing.
We didn't get everything.
I was about to say the stupidest thing ever.
Go on, let's hear it.
And the most ignorant thing in the world.
No, we're going to judge as listeners and friends what you're about to say. Go on.
We can't really do anything with that information. We can't really do anything with that information. Now, if we were to find out there was life on planets that are 40 light years away, we can't. There's not much. I mean, like, first of all, I don't know how we could possibly even discover that. I mean, we had the potential to know there is a potential and possibility of life. Yeah. But say there was, what do we do with those findings? It's not like a field experiment where we can actually conduct experiments and control things.
That is
we can
interesting.
just observe, but only faintly.
They're millions of years away in terms of time, right? Yeah. So you couldn't send them a message, could you?
Well, exactly, because time is relevant. I mean, by the time it takes to, like, to get a message transmitted over, I mean, it's like, because of the distance in time, distance in terms of the planet.
But don't you think though, Jay? Right, if we found life elsewhere, the world as an entity would think we need to contact that other thing.
I don't think so.
I would want to. I wouldn't be happy living on a planet, right? And we've discovered there is life outside of what we know, and we can't do anything. If your attitude is, well, leave them be. Then what if they're horrible? What if they're basically like family members you didn't know you had? You're thinking, I don't want to get involved. They might buy me a shower radio. Not interested. doesn't work anyway. Breaks after 3 tries. So it would be a nightmare. But I think I couldn't live with myself I would have to. I haven't got the resources to make this happen. But I would like to think the world would go, forget everything. All right, no one has to do anything. We'll share the money out equally. We're going to focus on getting to this place. The world are going to focus on getting to this and finding out what they do and what they know.
But why? I mean, what's
because think how our world exists, right? They might be, for all we know, because our world is relative. They could be 10,000 years ahead of us.
Yes, or
the technologies us. They might know, but they might be behind us. Think how much we could offer. It'd be like one big children in need. It'd be amazing.
Planet in Need.
Planet in Need. Who would host it? What's his name? Cox. He'd get involved. He'd be doing it. Brian Cox, Dr. Brian Cox. He'd be going, okay, welcome to donate. We're looking for, how much is that? We're looking for £400 billion to get this rocket off the ground. Now, if we can all chip in £1,
it would be absolutely fantastic.
Would be 5% of the way there. I would love to, though. I genuinely think there has to be. It seems too implausible to me that there isn't something else out there. And if there is, I would love to know what it is. Now, so you believe in Alien?
Do I believe in extraterrestrial life? Is that what you're saying?
Aliens, though. Do you think aliens exist? Do you think they're little spaceships driving around with little green men in?
I think it's a little bit further than that. I think that there is definitely some life forms out there, without question. I think there has to be, and there may even be some on these planets they've just discovered, which is the fascinating aspect.
But you don't care, though. I find that mad.
But this is my point. This is my point. They could be literally. It could just be. It could just be what's the right word here? It could be nothing. It could be nothing other than just microorganisms that they've found on this planet.
But isn't it worth finding out?
No, because we've got enough problems on this planet to begin with.
Right, well,
worry about this planet, and then we'll worry about a planet 40 light years away. I mean, Jesus Christ.
What do we need to fix first? America are going, have you seen our White House? Let us deal with that first. NASA are going, oh, by the way, new planets. Everyone's going, can we just deal with Trump
Exactly.
First?
No, I agree with that wholeheartedly.
So what things do we need to clear up before we can start focusing
Jesus
on
Christ. I mean,
life?
yesterday, Donald Trump reversed Obama's policy on transgender children using bathrooms.
Oh, that doesn't
They're already taking a step backwards in that category.
It doesn't.
And now we've got to worry about a planet 40 light years away. I mean, Jesus, there's so much going on in this world that we can fix. There's so much going on that we have direct control over, and it's unbelievable. Like the amount of things that we could fix if we all came together as one in this planet. And I'm not going to go off on a bit of a tangent here.
No, this is good. I think this is fine. This is a fine time. We've got no plan, Jay. We're free roaming here. Go on.
I mean, we've got nothing else to discuss today. So, I mean, but if it's totally true though, like I get passionate about this because it's true. Like I genuinely believe that we as a human race, like we are just so segregated.
We're not doing enough, are we?
No, we're not. It's stupid. It's unbelievable. Like it baffles me that on this planet we have so many problems that we could sort out if we wanted to, but we don't through greed and selfishness and a whole host of different factors. And then we've got NASA telling us where they found 7 planets that are 40 light years away that we couldn't even reach. Well, they might potentially have life. They might not. So, we don't even know that yet. I mean, like, well done for the discovery and that. Great job. But there's more pressing issues at hand right now, I think. It honestly, like, I totally get why people are interested by this. And again, I don't want to come across as ignorant and someone that just, is just too wrapped up in their own world to not care about something which is existing outside of theirs. But it's true. I honestly think that these discoveries, well done. Great job. Fantastic.
Clap. I mean, imagine that at NASA. One giant step for man.
Clap.
One, whatever it is for mankind. And Jay's just going, yeah, well done. Anyway, let's get on with business. I got shopping to do. Yeah, well done. You went to the moon. Big deal. Do something productive. I kind of agree, though, that with the money that will inevitably be spent on finding out what else is out there, I do feel like our world, we're not functioning properly, are we?
No.
Everyone's at odds. Everyone's having a little kerfuffle. I mean, it's probably more than a kerfuffle. But my big thing, like you touched on it there, is poverty in our world is a huge issue. The disparity between the poorest of the poor and the richest of the rich on the same planet is mental. It's crazy. Do you know what? It's one of those things again. We talked about, like, if you think about the world outside the world too much, you'll go mad. But if you think about the world inside the world too much, you'll start to feel like, what is the point a little bit?
Yeah,
which I think can be. I wonder how many people struggle. There must be like a, I don't know, like arachnophobia, but not a fear of spiders. There must be a word for people that are like fearful of their own sort of stature on the planet. There must. I don't know. There must be a thing for that. I wish research would have been helpful. But no.
He says 20 minutes into the show with no running order.
But we say this right. Bill Gates. Oh, this is a weird segue. Bill Gates is arguably the wealthiest man in the world, as far as we know. He's going to leave like almost. I think he's worth something like 100 billion or something like that. Something. It's around that figure. Okay. If I got it wrong by a few billion, I don't think anyone will mind. He's going to use most of that money. He's not leaving it to his kids. He's going to invest that in treatments and in research, and like that's amazing.
It is.
It's a bit like. If you think it's that important, why aren't you doing it now? I mean, he is doing stuff now, but if you still got the money, Bill, I feel like you don't need all the billions. Just move half of it now. Just go, here's this.
The problem with that point is that I know exactly what some people say in the comment section, and that is, oh, well, then why don't you donate all of your money to charity instead of going to watch Millwall on Saturday?
Well, we still need to live, though, Jay. Bill Gates will be fine. Bill Gates could lose 40 million and go, it's all right. I mean, he probably would be a bit annoyed if it's gone missing. But it's not going to drastically affect how he lives his life. Whereas if someone said to me, why don't you give half your money away? I'll go, slow down, all right? I don't know if you've seen the ad rates recently, but slow down, okay?
Yeah, it's not good.
Don't be ridiculous.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is that. But again, I appreciate that. Like, you know, I wish more wealthy people, as much as they want to keep their families secure for life and things like that, and the family's family and the family's family, etc. So if I do think more could be done in that respect, like you look at some of the situations of poverty around the world, it's crazy. Even in this country, like we forget really that there's a large percentage of people in our country that are struggling to pay the bills and to put food on the table and things like that. So yeah, more could be done. That is slightly a different point from, do you think there's aliens? I mean, I should say I've been on the bus a few times in the last 10 years. I'll tell you, I think some of them could be existing now. We're not 100% sure. Yeah, there's some interesting things that go on buses. Do you ever ride the bus?
Not anymore. I used to all the time.
Yeah,
I used to all the time. But now I've got a bit profile now. I can't be seen on public transport. You know.
Something that's been highlighted recently is that, are you the sort of person? So when you see an argument, like, the reason I bring this up, right, is because the boss was often a place where this would occur more often than not when I was involved. Are you the sort of person that would interfere if you saw some sort of disagreement on a bus? So say, the example I would use actually is there was these two older girls, they're probably around sort of 18, 19, and picking on this little 14-year-old kid who this guy who obviously, you know, just getting the bus. I think he was probably on his way home or way to school, and they were picking on him. And what do you reckon I did? Do you reckon I sat back and went, you know what, this is not for me to get involved with, I'm not trying to cause a fuss on the bus is quite busy? Or do you think I went in there and went, oi, you stop that? What do you think I did?
I think your moral compass is right, knowing you for over a year now. I think that you're quite brave most of the time, but I also think you're very self-respecting of like other situations which you have no place in. So it's quite hard to guess that.
Okay,
I would say you did. I would say you did. I think you did. I think you did get involved.
I did get involved. I generally always get involved if that sort of thing happens. I will say this wasn't recent. This was a while ago. But I can't stand to see people get picked on. That is one of my things that, as much as, okay, there are certain scenarios, right, that if, say there's me and there's 10 guys picking on one guy, the likelihood is I'm going to report it or I'll call the police or something. I'm not getting involved in that. I'm not getting my head kicked in for the sake of people throwing insults or slapping this someone around. It doesn't matter who it would be.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to be the hero in that scenario. But when I see it, especially with young people, I think that's my frustration, is when I see young people giving fellow young people a hard time. I find that really frustrating, especially because I worry about what the older generation think about our generation doing that sort of thing. That for me is a real annoyance to me, Jay. Now, are you the sort of person that would step in that situation? If they're like just calling them names and whatnot and having a go, do you step in, or do you think, do you know what, this isn't my place. This isn't my place to get involved. I'm not looking to cause a fuss. And
there's only one situation I have that's similar to that one.
Right, tell us about it.
Tell us about it. Well, it's not even remotely similar, actually, so I don't know what I'm going on this one. But it's the only thing I can think of. There was once I got on a bus and I was going from my town to a nearby bigger town, and there were two older women, not too old, but probably like early 50s. It was quite a busy bus, I'd say, and there was a youngster sitting in front of them, but to the right side. That makes sense. So not directly in front, but to the right, if that makes sense. And they were not taking the mic per se, because they're a bit too old to do that. I think they're matured, hopefully, to that level. But they were saying, and quite loudly, so I could hear it, and I was 2 seats back with headphones in. They were saying that they should have special buses for people like that, because he had, I don't think it was Down syndrome, but I think he just had some learning difficulties. And I thought, that's bang out of order, first and foremost. It's a disgusting thing to say. Absolutely awful thing to say. You could tell there was, because I actually come from a bit of a, quite funny for me to come from this sort of town, but I come from a bit of an upmarket town. And you could tell they were a little bit sort of upper class, per se. And I waited until they got off at the stop, and I went down and got off at that stop as well, even though my stop wasn't low and there were 2 stops past. And I said to them afterwards, I said, what you said was just absolutely despicable. I said, there's literally no justification for that at all. And I told them in no uncertain terms. And I was about, the kid must have been about, I don't know, 19, 20 maybe. It's quite young.
Yeah.
I must have been about 17, 18 myself. So a little bit younger than that. But I just remember thinking to myself, like, what kind of person do you have to be? Like, what kind of upbringing must you have had to genuinely think that's the type of topic to discuss on a bus with quite a few people around you, when that young kid has clearly got some learning difficulties, and say it loud enough so everyone can hear? And I thought, I'm not going to make a scene on the bus, because the kid obviously had no sort of
there's that line, isn't it? Like, does the person do they want to draw attention to it?
Exactly. I didn't want to exacerbate the situation, so I thought I'll wait until they go off the bus and I'll follow them off and say exactly what I think, because someone's got to tell them. Because I thought that was absolutely disgusting.
I guess at the time I felt like I was taking a preventative measure. Like, for example, I didn't get off I didn't get off the bus until he got off.
Right.
So he got off, and I didn't want I don't want these girls to go off at the same time, and luckily I didn't. So I just stayed on the bus and got off somewhere else. But it was like, if I feel like I can prevent the situation, I'll always step in. Would you? I mean, people might be listening. They're of a younger age that feel like it's difficult to, especially. I think it probably is more difficult when you're sort of around the age of, like, say you're 15 to around like 18. That sort of tricky age where you're old enough to say something because you understand what's going on. Yeah. But at the same time, you might not always be the dominant force within that conversation, and you don't want to put yourself at risk. Now, do you think it's worth stepping in? Are you sort of person that would always sort of recommend, do you know what, you should say something?
It's difficult because every situation is different. I mean, it's quite hard to say that. I mean, in regards to your situation, a bit different to mine. I probably would just sat with the kid just to show that he has a friend, and even though those girls would still be picking on him, I'd be there with him.
To make a lot of my preventive measure was to just say to him, like, so he was sat across on the bus, he was on the other side, and I was on the side. I said to him, I said, "Oh, you right, mate?" And he just sort of looked at me, just nodded, and I was like, "Do you know what? He seems alright." And then the sort of thing where these girls, you know, when you tell someone off and they get shocked. I do it in cinemas a lot. So if anyone's on there, if you ever get in a cinema with me and I catch you on your phone or chatting, there is hell to pay. I won't report you to the cinema. I will stand up and turn around and go, "Can you not do that, please? Because I've paid to watch this, and you have as well. So you best turn it off. Cheers." Otherwise, if it gets too far, I will go. The one time I do remember, oh God, I'm going to have to make the film. Shit. Okay. So, I didn't think this through at all. So, I was seeing High School Musical 3.
Brilliant.
This was the second time I'd seen it that week, actually, which is worse to admit.
You didn't even need to add that bit in. No one's going to question it. No. But you just wanted to clarify.
No, but I'd seen it with, like, my whole family. What am I doing? Just stop. Well, no, it was just like Ellie was like, "Oh shit, yeah."
You're making it so much worse than it needs to be.
Okay, it's a great film though. One of the better versions. It was the final one of the trilogy, so it was emotional.
You've seen them all, have you?
God, well, of course I have. Yes. And these, I mean, weirdly enough, right? It gets stranger. These set of like 8 guys turned up. You know, when a group of lads turn up to a film, and they're coming on. They were late. That was annoying as much as anything else.
Sure.
5-10 minutes late. They sat in the row in front of me. That was the mistake they regretted. And then phones out, food out, obviously they didn't even bought from the cinema. I think he had a big packet of crisps. I was like, they were chatting away for like 2 minutes, and Ellie sat next to me, her girlfriend. She's going, "Don't just leave it. Just leave it. It's not worth it. Just leave it." I'm going, "I've paid £7 for this ticket, and as much as I'm enjoying this film, I'm enjoying it less when they're sat there." She's going, "No, just don't say anything." And then one of them, like, burps really loudly.
Right.
That was it.
Yeah.
I leaned forward in the most. I think this is when I became an adult. To be fair, at this time, I think I must have been about 18. I leant forward and I just looked across the line of lads. I just went, "If you don't want to dick about, you can dick about outside. Now fuck off." And for the rest of the film, Jay, not a fucking peep, not a word, not a single word. I felt so. And then the woman behind went, "Well done, mate." I was like, "Cheers." I think she was wanting to me. Anyway, and that was it. So. What I'm really trying to say is, Jay, not only am I alpha male on the podcast in any situation,
but you are in real life as well, yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
Generally speaking, brave.
See, I wouldn't do that. What I would do is I'd sit there and I'd just go, "Do you know what? I think I'll go and watch the film just on the other screen." Like, do you know what I mean? I'll just go to the next cinema. I'm not going to get involved.
Are you the
I'm
sort of person that
I'm too cowardice. I'm too cowardice to do that. If it was one person, I would probably do it. If it was one person, I'd be like, yeah, I'm up for this. I'll do this. I don't mind. In fact, funny enough, there was a situation like that when I worked at Apprentice. There was an awards due, and there was a young kid. It's quite similar to the other one, actually. Just a minute ago, there was a young kid who got on stage, and he was again had learning difficulties. And there was a couple of guys that were in front of me, and they were laughing about him, trying to impress the girl that was sat next to them. And after they got outside, I said, absolutely bang out of order, and I said, "What on earth are you doing? Like, seriously, that is a young kid with learning disabilities, and you're mocking him for lad points." And it's like, what are you doing? Like, I can't stand people to do that. But again, the problem is, if I was doing that in the auditorium, like it was, or the cinema in your case, I'll be like, "Oh, I know what's going to happen here. They're both going to gang up on me, and I'm going to get a punch in the face." You know what I mean? I can't do it. I'm too much of a coward. And the problem is, I've always been a pacifist as well. I'm not a fight. I'm a pacifist. I don't fight. I never do. I'm quite strong. I would say I've got enough physicality about me. I can handle myself. I've been beaten up a couple of times. I can handle myself. But
sorry, Jay. I'm going to say that. If you're going to say, "Do you know what, I can handle myself," and then you deliver the line, "I've been beaten up a couple of times."
What I mean is, I could.
That's amazing. Yeah, I love swimming. I drowned once, but I'm a big fan of splashing around. Yeah, love it.
What I mean is, I can.
That's be saved a couple of times.
I can stand up for myself. What I mean is, I won't throw the first punch. I won't be the intimidating one. And because of that, basically, if people know that about me, then I'm screwed. I could stand up and be like, "Yeah, come on and try something." Punch me in the face. Oh, now I can't hit them back. What am I going to do now? I've got to stand there and take it. It was like when I got beaten up by those Sheffield United fans. I literally just had to take it. I didn't throw a single punch back. I just tried to push them off, and I just...
I shouldn't be laughing, Jay, but the way you spell it out.
Oh, dear.
I'm pretty handy with a gun. Oh, shot myself. No, leave it. No, it's... Oh, dude. No, that's quite funny though. I enjoyed that. Yeah, I can handle myself. Been beaten up a couple of times.
It's the worst part though, because and this is the worst part about me. Like, being a pacifist, I think people realise. It's like,
how can you be a pacifist and a Millwall fan? You're the only one.
I am. I know. I'm the only one. I said it to the copper. He started laughing outside. He thought I was joking. I was like, "No, I'm being serious." That's the reason they just walked off with no bruises, and I'm sat here needing hospital treatment.
Look at this Bible I've got. There's the proof. Pull it out of my pocket. Leave it. So yeah, have you been in many fights? I think this is going towards that now.
I've been in two, and those were quite. Again, the Sheffield United fans to beat me. That was the worst one. I've been mugged. I got mugged a few months after I moved to Manchester as well.
Yeah.
And that's basically it. I think there was like one school fight I had. This is quite an interesting topic, actually.
Oh, brilliant.
School fights, I've only ever been in one, and all I remember was pushing off one of my friends because something happened in football. I can't remember now. I was about, 9 years old, maybe 8, 9 years old, and then walked off trying not to cry. That was about as physical as the fight got. I pushed him off. He fell on the floor. I walked off trying not to cry, really angry.
Were you a crier at school over like little things?
Oh, I was in certain things that I was passionate about, but in other things I actually didn't care. Right. I used to get a lot of. I was never bullied as a kid. I was actually quite lucky. I was never ever bullied. I wasn't a bully, and I was never a bully. Yeah, I was never bullied, but I did have. Brilliant. I knew I was coming. I was never bullied until me and Ben became friends.
Sorry. Well, I feel like you had 12 years of lack of it, so I figured I'd make up for lost time. You're making up for it,
yeah sure. But I was never bullied, but I did have some people that didn't like me and would sort of take the mick every now and then. It was never like too bad, but it was just every now and then.
Yeah.
I used to get like quite a few negative comments due to my appearance because of my vitiligo and my teeth and stuff. And I was always upset about that because it used to annoy me because I care a lot about the way I look.
Yeah.
And I was always upset about football and stuff. But I remember someone once used to try and take the mick out of me in, I can't remember what class it was. It was primary school, and I think it was maths because I was very bad at maths. I ended up with an E at GCSE. I only scraped that as well.
Right.
And I was very bad at maths. And I used to have someone that would take the mick out of me. He used to sit opposite me because I couldn't do like basic sums and stuff.
Yeah.
And I literally just didn't care. Like I was not interested. I never cried about that. I never got upset. I never like went to the teacher, Miss, I didn't care because like sod it. Like it's education. I don't care about education.
How are your times tables now?
I said I've improved since year 3. I'd say.
Should we do a test?
Oh well, I mean now it's pressure, isn't it?
No, I just wondered. I'll just do some simple ones.
Give me a quick sum and see if I can do it.
All right, 7 times 14.
I mean, you couldn't even stick to single digits.
Sorry. I didn't realise the limitations.
Well, it is.
All right, I'll do the classic 9 times 9.
There's a rule with the 9s where like they end and they go down. So I think it's something like 80.
I'm starting to think we should have had topics.
Is it 80? Is that the right answer?
No, it's 81.
Oh, well, I was one off.
How can 9 times 9 be 80?
I don't know. There's a
What's
rule
9
where it
times?
goes
All right,
down.
I'll give you a clue. What's 9 times 10?
90.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
So 9 times 9 can't be 80, can it?
Well, then it's 81, isn't it?
I mean, I feel like I've given you an advantage by telling you the answer, but yes, you're right. It is. Anyway, bloody hell, that was segued. We were talking about fights, weren't we? I've never really been in fights. There was this kid that used to live across the road that was a bit of a spoiled little dickhead, and
great description of that, by the way. Spoiled little dickhead.
We weren't like so. I don't know if did you call it high school, like middle school, first school? Did you call it primary, secondary?
No, it's primary, secondary.
All right, so secondary is the big school, right?
Mm-hmm.
The biggest of schools. So, because I didn't call it that, so I'm going to try and do it in your way. So at primary school, we didn't go to the same primary schools, same middle schools for those that know what I'm on about. And then at high school, we went to the same one because it's a lot closer, like 5-10 minute walk. And through sort of our growing up, because obviously we lived across the road, and in my day, I think, how old does that sound? We used to play out a lot. Playing out was like the thing to do. So every day you play out. There'd be a group of like 10 of us that would always play out, and me and him just didn't get on. I just thought he was a little. I wasn't an angry kid. I was quite. I mean, I'd go as far to say I was very shy when I was younger, anyway. But there were certain things that I was confident about because I was quite, like at a young age I was always quite athletic. So when you did like races or we played football, I'd always that was where I'd shine. And this one kid that was just a knob. There's just these people that you look at, and before even they open their mouths, you can just tell they're a knob.
Sure.
He was this person, and we'd have scraps all the time about little things. I remember like walking in from school once, and like he gave me a little shove, and so I shoved him back, and he fell. It's quite a funny story looking back. He fell in some dog muck, I call it, and then he wiped it on my school bag. So I was like, right, one, I didn't push you in it intentionally. You've now wiped it on my bag. You ain't going to clean that off, are you? And my mum's going to make me clean that off. So I laid into him.
Oh yeah.
In like year 9.
Knocked him out.
On the walk. No. I've never knocked anybody out. I'm not a maniac. But again, I think it was like year 9 or 10, and then his mum came round to my mum's, and like we're quite a chilled out family. We're not very aggressive ever about anything. No. Very calm. Sure. My mum would much rather make a list than have an argument. It's that sort of house. Right. And his mum came around, she goes, "Your son beat up my son." So my mum just showed him the bag and shut the door. That was it. Well, I know. It's the most aggressive my mum's ever been.
No, so, your mum had your back.
She had my back. She had my back and my bag. And
brilliant.
She had B squared. And me, Ben. So B tripled.
Do you know what? Don't get back to maths.
I was going to say, do you know what triple means?
No, I don't.
What?
Okay. Let's just move on.
So we've covered life. We've covered extraterrestrials. I'm interested to know, actually. We'll leave a few questions for the viewers. If you've got this far, I mean, should we do 3 questions?
I mean, if you got this far, I'll be very surprised. What on earth was this about? You know what, right? During this podcast...
People might prefer it, Jay.
I just want to say this just to listeners real quick. During this podcast, right, we got about 15 minutes in, and I was sitting there thinking, wait, we did press record, and we this is genuinely the chat. This is what's going on the podcast. Well, for a minute, I thought we were just being candid, just having a chat. I thought this was pre-podcast banter, just not getting ready to, getting ready to do the actual show. And then it sort of dawned on me, no, this is the show. I've got to stop pulling it out.
Well, it started off, you were just having a go at me.
Because I was genuinely annoyed. I couldn't believe it.
Jesus Christ, it was last week. No, but a few questions then. So people in the comment section, if you got to this point, much like Joe, I'm going to be shocked. But do you believe in extraterrestrials? Do you believe in ET? Things like that. What's your opinion on sort of breaking up disputes, fights, arguments? And have you ever been in any fights that ended maybe comically? I've got one story actually. I'll just quickly finish with Jay. We had this music teacher. I've told this story on my live stream before, but it's a funny story. We had this music teacher who was very quite uppity. Right, a bit of one of these teachers that didn't want to teach. He wanted to show off how good he was at music. That was kind of his MO. And you must remember the scenario at school when there was going to be a fight after school. Yeah, everyone knew about it. It was always between generally the same sort of group of kids that would fall out over something. Yeah, and there'd be a fight. And ironically enough, Jay, near the bike sheds. I mean, that sounds very sort of typical, but it was genuinely at the bike sheds. Yeah. So everyone sort of gathered round. Annoyingly, though, school fights were never planned well, were they? One, everyone would be talking about it to the point where teachers knew, so there was no element of surprise. Exactly. And it would always be on school grounds. If you get a fight club, wouldn't do that. That's all I'll say. They wouldn't do it in a cafe, would they? They had their own underground bunker thing. So it's very. I should say the wind is picking up. I don't know if listeners can hear that. Just I'm letting you know if you can. I'm aware. Hurricane Doris is I think Storm Doris is all over the place today.
We discussed this. You didn't need to bring that up.
I wanted people to know just in case they can hear it, and they've been able to hear it the whole time. And I'm people are going. Does he not know that I can hear the wind? I'm aware. Anyway, so the school fight between a guy called... Do you know what, actually? No, they're both called Leon. That was what was interesting about it. I know, context. And so they're getting involved in this fight. Everyone's gathered round. There's probably 250 kids gathered round just shouting fight, because that was the only thing that could be heard or was worth saying at the time. No one jumped... Ironically enough, after what we've spoken about, nobody would jump in. Nobody would try and stop it. You'd see who cried first. That was generally the rule. Anyway, Mr. Mill comes out. He's the music teacher. Storms out. And without doing anything, I don't know why he decided he was in charge of fight control, comes out and just shouts the word disperse. That's all he did. So he's just going, disperse! Disperse! And no one is. And he's out of control to the point at which he just walks off. He walks back into school. It's not... I don't know
if that's as far as he got.
I don't know what people are doing on teacher training, but I can't imagine that is step one. If you see a fight, try and break it up. Try and get other students to move away. And then pull them apart. His attitude was, shout, disperse, no one does anything, just go back inside. No. So, and then ironically, some other teachers came out and broke it up, and you think, okay, they're actual teachers then that know what to do in this situation. So yeah, the disperse story is one of legend. I probably could have told it better, but it's too late now.
But I like the idea that was in his mind. He thought this is going to work.
Yeah,
this will clear him up.
He's weighing up words as he's walking through the corridors. Yeah. He's going, do I shout break it up? Do I shout stop it? Do I shout get off him? Oh no, I tell you what, I know I've not tried this before, but I'm sure it'll work. Disperse.
That'll work. People just looking around confused. Yeah. What is that? Oh,
Jay's going, is that like algebra? What is that? Anyway, I think that probably wraps us up this week, Jay.
I think so. Yeah.
For the good of everyone involved.
Including ourselves. I'm surprised. I can't believe it. Next week, we've really got to pull this out.
Well, I want to know if people think this is a better show or not. Some people will, Jay. Honestly.
Yeah? Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Mark the show out of 10. Mark the show out of 10.
Who's that wise?
I think they should. I think they should.
Show out of 10.
Mark the show out of 10. If they enjoyed a more candid, relaxed approach,
God,
let us know. But I'll tell you what. I mean, last week we weren't here. I was thinking we're going to come back with a dynamite show this week. There's been no script. There's been nothing. We started off with me complaining about something, and we're ending the same way as well.
This is my favourite one.
Really?
Yeah.
You enjoyed it?
I enjoyed this one more than any other.
Well, We'll see if the listeners did. I think that's the most important.
All right, if they didn't, then this might be the last podcast. I don't know. We'll see you next week, or maybe not. We'll see.
That'll keep them hooked.
Yeah, see you next Friday. Maybe. Ooh, mystery.